Assalamualaikum and a very good day I be to our lecturer, Professor Madya Dr. Shamhari bin Abidin and my fellow friends. Today we are from Group 1. We'll be presenting about the risk analysis of WCE Holdings Berhad. We are a group of 5 members which consists of me, myself, Nur Azaliza binti Muhammad Faizul, metric number 261199, and my other group members, Amira Fariza, Huda, Nurul Asma and Nur Zarifah. So, I will begin the presentation with the introduction of this project. In this project, we will discuss on the internal environment of WCE Holdings Berhad, risk identification, causes of the risk, impact of the risk, and lastly to suggest appropriate response to the risk. Okay, before we discuss further on the risk analysis of WCE Holdings Berhad, let's look into the meaning of risk assessment and risk management first. Risk is the chance of loss or unfavorable outcome associated with an action. Usually, the greater the uncertainty, the greater the risk. That's why risk assessment and risk management is needed to deal with the impact of the unfavorable risk. Okay, what does this risk assessment and risk management mean? Risk assessment and risk management is a process of thinking systematically about all possible risks, problems or failures before they happen, and finding out the ways that we prevent the risk or reduce its impact or cope with its impact. In other simple words, it is basically setting up a process where the risk can be identified and setting up a plan to manage or deal with it. Moving on to the next part, which is the background of the company. WCE Holdings Berhad is an investment holding company that was incorporated in December 2000 and listed on 17 November 2003. It was based in Shah Alam, Malaysia. Okay, before this, WCE Holdings Berhad was known as Kumpulan Europlus Berhad, and the name of the company was changed in September 2016. The segment of the company include manufacturing, toll concession, construction, and others. Currently, WCE Holdings Berhad is prime and focused on the execution of the nation's 6 billion West Coast Expressway project by its subsidiary West Coast Expressway Sendirian Berhad. This project involved the development of a 233 km highway from Banting in Selangor to Taiping in Perak. Till now, the project is still ongoing and the percentage of the overall construction of the project is 77%. The chairman of the WCE Holding Berhad is Dato' IR Hamzah bin Hassan. He joined the board of the company on 2 January 2015 and was appointed as a chairman on 23 November 2017. Okay, what are the objectives of WCE Holdings Berhad? Their first objective is to build an expressway for the convenience of the nation without compromising the balance of nature and ecology. Next, from the environmental perspective, they want to ensure that there are adequate measures at all construction sites and workplaces to avoid any adverse impact on the environment. To achieve this objective, WCE are committed to carry out business in a community and environmentally friendly manner based on the CARE principle, which is complying to all environmental and other relevant legal requirements, applying a continuous improvement concept, reducing and preventing pollution, and the last one is educating employees on the importance of sustainable development and pollution prevention. While for the current West Coast Expressway project, they are focusing on 3 objectives, which are prevent occupational accident, prevent occupational illness, and prevent environmental pollution. To achieve this objective, WCE Holdings Berhad comply with all applicable legislation and related requirements, dissemination of relevant information to everyone involved, minimize safety and health risks through adoption of best practice, and the last one is to provide appropriate training to the employees and other related parties. That's all from me. Next, I shall pass the presentation to Amira to continue with the internal environment.
Thank you, Azaliza. Next, I will explain about the internal environment and risk implementation of WCE Holdings Berhad. My name is Amira Faiza binti Amran, metric number 261035. Firstly, what is internal environment? It is one of the core components under ERM framework, which discloses it as the foundation for all other components of enterprise risk management, providing discipline and structure. Due to its important internal environment has affected on how companies develop its strategies and objectives, as well as how the business activities are arranged and how risks pointed out, evaluated and acted upon. The ethical values of a company, staff competence and growth, management's operating style and how it assigns authority and duty are all elements that compose the internal environment. The internal environment for WCE Holdings Berhad consists of its board of directors, nominating committee, audit committee and company's policy. The first internal environment is board of directors. The board of directors is accountable for the strategic plans on the group's business performance and involves in decision-making process. Currently, the board consists of 7 members, includes 4 independent non-executive directors and 3 non-independent non-executive directors. The independent non-executive directors contributes in providing the required balance of power and control to the board with various industry-specific knowledge and backgrounds. Moreover, the position for independent non-executive chairman and chief executive officer are not associated and separated in making sure the power and authority are well balanced. The board use board charter which emphasize the duties, responsibilities and matters reserved for the board in delivering their duties as a guidance. Next is the nominating committee. It is in charge of giving recommendations to the board regarding the suitable candidates for appointment as director by evaluating and match the candidates' criteria based on experience, skill, capability, expertness and potential contribution. The position of nomination committee's chairman is held by Datuk Wira Haji Hamzah bin Taib, which is an independent non-executive director. Hence, prejudice and bias can be avoided. Beside that is audit committee, which is responsible in reviewing the financial reporting, audit, risk management and internal control system of the group, where it is led by a senior independent non-executive director, Datuk of Chong Peng, who has all the skills and experience needed under accounting field. By appointing an experienced person, it may minimize the risk of misstatement and ensure the financial statements of the group comply with applicable financial reporting standards. Audit committee also held discussion with the group's external auditor regarding audit plans, findings and financial statements. Lastly is the company's policy. The board implements the code of ethics and conducts in order to build a corporate culture within the group so that the business will be operated in an ethical manner and maintain professionalism. Besides that, the company also adopted a whistleblowing policy and has zero tolerance policy against all forms of bribery and corruption made by its director, management and employees. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Amira. Assalamualaikum and good day to Prof. Madya Dr. Syamharir. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Nurul Asma, matric number 261058. I will resume the presentation with the first 2 risks that our group has identified in WCE Holdings Berhad. So the first risk is performance risk, which concerns with the probability that a project failed to meet the desired expectation and project specification. During the construction of the project, the management identified underperforming main contractor, which was KEB Builders near Berhad, that jeopardized the performance of the project. It was caused by poor project management by the company itself, when they overlooked the importance of awarding contractors that could maintain the compliance with the engineering, procurement and construction contracts EPCC. Consequently, the construction of the project at Section 11 started from Berwas Junction to Taiping was delayed. It was progressing only at 51.55% instead of 99.3% as of 25th July 2021, seemingly far from the expectation. As a response to the risk, the company tried to mitigate the risk by closely monitoring the non-performing contractors. As a result, the remaining construction project was taken over by the government and Malaysian Highway Authority. Moving on, the second risk is competitive risk, which is the extent to how the competitors' actions could prevent a company from achieving its goals. On 1st February 2020, the government imposed 18% discounts on toll rates to all plus highways, which is WCE Holdings Berhad's competitor. The discount was initiated by the Ministry of Finance as an effort to reduce living costs in Malaysia, which would benefit approximately 1.8 million of highway users. As a result, the company recorded less highway users at West Coast Expressway, and consequently, they recorded less revenue due to the less toll fees received at toll booth. Then this issue was raised by the shareholders in the company's 19th annual general meeting. The management then responded that they had no other choice but to accept the government's decisions. However, they remain optimistic that the government would reanalyze the impact the toll discrepancies had on other service providers as well.
Assalamualaikum and hi to Dr. Shamhari and my fellow friends. I am Nur Zarifa binti Muhammad Hatta, metric number 261186. I will continue the presentation with another two risks. The third risk faced by WCE Holding that we found is schedule risk. So, what is schedule risk? Schedule risk is actually the possibility of failure to meet the scheduled plans. As in this case, WCE Holding has an ongoing project construction that is uncertain to be completed within the scheduled time. This risk was caused by land acquisition issue for the toll highway project that increased in price from initial estimation of 1.56 billion ringgit to 2.13 billion ringgit. Due to that, the cost of the project had increased by 750 million ringgit. The construction work completion and toll commencement had been delayed from 2019 to 2022 and further delayed to 2024. Another impact of this risk is that it also has affected the remaining project funding, as the project had taken up much more allocation of money than expected. This risk can be responded by transferring the risk. This is because the federal government and also the concession company would have to bear the cost overrun. Besides, the company might also mitigate the risk by renegotiating in court and revising its budget. The last risk that we found is operational risk. For your information, operational risk is the risk arising from uncertainties and hazards in doing the day-to-day business activities. In the case of WCE Holdings, its core business activities is the daily toll collection, and besides, it also have an ongoing project. The risk arose due to COVID-19, which caused the company's failure to operate its activities as usual. The impact of this risk is that the government had to impose lockdown, which led to movement control restriction. Due to that, the traffic volume decreased, which resulted to decrease in company's toll collection as well as its revenues too. Other than that, the construction had to be paused, causing delayed 6% behind the schedule. Since COVID-19 is unavoidable, WCE Holding must accept the risk it brought, as there was nothing the company could do. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Zarifa. Next, I'm Huda binti Ahmad Zuhairi with metric number 261041 will be explaining about the risk metric. For a company to have a better visual on the risk that might occur, risk metric is performed to identify the nature of the risk. The risk metric is based on two intersecting factors, which are the likelihood that the risk event will occur and the potential impact that the risk event will have on the business. In other words, it's a tool that helps you visualize the probability versus the severity of a potential risk. The red side indicates high risks that are high likely to occur and bring potentially serious consequences, while the yellow side indicates medium risks that are likely to occur and have relatively serious consequences compared to high risk. As for the green side, it indicates low risks that have low possibility to occur and low consequences that are manageable to be handled by routine procedures. As for the high risk, usually activities in this category manifest a potentially serious risk that are high likely to occur. It will leave a high impact to the projects or activities conducted by WCE Holdings Berhad. The company needs to start making plans on how to face these risks that are going on repetitively. There is only one significant impact risk within this category, which is the performance risk, while one moderate impact risk, which is operational risk. Both risks have a high likelihood of the risk happening. Next, for the medium risk, Activities in this category contain intermediate risk of 50-50 chance of occurring. Further analysis should be held to estimate the occurrence of the risk since it might impose quite high impacts to the company. There is only one risk can be concluded under this category, which is competitive risk. These risks have medium likelihood of the risk happening. Lastly, for the low risk, activities in this category usually contain the low risk and unlikely to occur on repetition. Companies should come out with a risk-reducing measures to completely prepare for the risk when it happens. Usually, this type of risk does not leave a strong impact for the company since they have plan of actions prepared to be conducted. In this category, there is only one risk, which is schedule risk. Even though this risk unusually happen and has low likelihood of the risk happening, without further plan of actions, the company may not be able to face the risk and might interrupt company's activities. In conclusion, having a risk management team is so important for the company because it provides ways for the company to be proactive towards risks that might occur. They might be able to identify the risks first and plan the future actions to be taken. Risk assessment is important to conduct as the first step to identify all the significant risks dealing with the problems faced. WCE also can set up a risk culture in its management. It will boost open and upward communication to make sure risk information is shared across the company. People in the company need to understand the risks they might face during the company's operation. Top management needs to have a good lead and example to its people and educate employees about risk by giving them an understanding of risk. Besides, they can teach them to identify issues, their effect and way to handle it. The use of technology also helps to assist the company in gathering risk-related data such as internal audit, claims and third parties into one easily accessible area. In certain ways, utilizing technology creates a risk-aware culture throughout the firm by enhancing risk transparency and visibility through technical advancement. An effective risk management also is by having explicit strategies for the company to use it in addressing the company's risk to provide solutions. That's all from us. Thank you.